Hey, 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 hey! Welcome to ComeonyespursTV, where we talk about everything Tottenham. I've got a Tottenham guru on the other line waiting to, champion at the debate. We haven't been here in a while, but hey, listen, we've got it nailed on tight. There's so much to talk about today in today's episode. Stay with us, and we'll be with you very shortly. In the meantime, come on, you Spurs! Onguchuma.
I got called out all through Christmas.
Chuma, oh my goodness. Come on, you Spurs TV. Welcome, everybody. We
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas and we wish you all the very best in the coming year. We obviously
Indeed.
so grateful for all your support in the past and of course looking forward to, joining the discussion about Spurs in the course of this year. Again, apologies for being away for such a long time, but hey, we're back. That's what's the most important. So, Shuma, tell me what's going on.
Well. Firstly, we have to do housekeeping. I think so. Let's set up housekeeping. Welcome to Common Use Spurs TV, the channel that talks about Spurs from. We always like to say the Afrobeat section of Spurs, the Lily White Nation. Um, if you've been rocking with us for a while and you haven't subscribed, why haven't you subscribed? Click on the subscribe button. If this is your first time here as well, like the video. It helps us with the algorithm. And comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know your views on these topics happening in Spurs and in general football as well. And as always, 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 it's come on, ye Spurs.
Thank you so much, Shuma. Thank you for that lovely intro. So, yes. So let's get right into it. There's so much happening. I don't even know where to start. I mean, you have, you where the Spurs nation, if you want to call it that, has become what you might call this divided entity, if you like, in terms of saying those who want Ange to remain in place as the head coach, and those who want Ange out. There are Ange In, Ange Outs, factions, for one of better expression, and it's been super toxic in that regard. I mean, I think one of the things fans obviously in the nature of fandom, for one of better expression, is that you find that people take positions either based on their personal perspectives or their worldview, for one of better expression, or mindsets, or some people just prefer to rely on rational facts and figures to say, look, where are we in terms of where the team should be? Where are we in terms of how we compare ourselves to others? Where are we in terms of revenue we're coming in? Where are we in terms of the kind of players that we have within the budget that we have to play around with? And do we have a system in place that can take us places? Given time for that system to actually work, or do we change and chop and change at every point in time? So we have these two conflicting points of view that are, sometimes when you listen to both perspectives, you see where they're coming from, but you think to yourself, what, where should we swing, if you like, in reality? So where are you? Let's do the no sitting on the fence.
like like you said, it's like what do you call it? Avengers Civil War. If you're a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, it's a civil war. It's a Tottenham Hotspur Civil War. So you have Ange In versus Ange Out. You have Enoch and Levy in, Enoch Levy out. You can't separate Levy and Enoch anyway, so it's probably Enoch in, Enoch out. And the really interesting thing is these two separate civil war battles are linked because a lot of the people who are Ange in, quite a few of them are Levy in as well. And the people who are Ange out are also Levy out as well. So it's kind of like, oh, it's just a mishmash of the two. And because of this, it's really, really hard to go and like more or less like spend any time on any Spurs platform, because somewhere along the line you're going to be dragged into a conversation or a debate or an argument that is either Ange in, Ange out, ENIC in, ENIC out. You can't just discuss football, and especially with the results. I think it's a results driven angst. As much as these issues have always affected Spurs fans, especially the latter one, ENIC in versus ENIC out, it's based on results. When Spurs are winning, no one talks. All they're busy celebrating and, bantering rivals. But when Spurs are losing, and Spurs have been on a losing streak or a non-winning streak, you throw in the draws, and this has really, really amplified this feeling. It's not sadness, it's not defeatist, it's like melancholy. It's just there. It's just a darkness that is like pervading every Spurs environment. And for me, I'll just come out and say it. I'm Ange in. I am Enoch doubter. I'm an Enoch doubter, but I'm an Ange in. I'm not Enoch out. I'm not Enoch in. I'm just an Enoch doubter because I think Enoch could have been run better. But in terms of Ange in, Ange out, which I think we'll start the discussion with, I am 1000% Ange in. I think Spurs' problems under Ange have been, if we're going to go on the 80-20 rule, I would say 80% has been individualized on the players, 20% his fault in terms of when things have gone wrong in games. Um, he sets out his instructions. There's a framework. There's a way he's set up. But also, you can also put the same blame on 80% being on the quality of players that are present on the pitch, as opposed to 20% to tactical ineptitude. He's his system, his framework works perfectly well when you have the right players on that pitch. When you have the players who are the wingers, you have the striker, you have the midfielders, you have the floating eights and six, and you have Van de Ven and Romero. You have qualified centre backs, and you have a keeper that can play the ball out and build up properly. We didn't have any problems. That's when we went on that run. First 10 games last year. It's hard to keep going back to that, but that was a perfect run for him.
We'll come to you and say to you, hang on, every good coach, right, or if you like, even though the team is supposed to get players that would suit their system, right, invariably have to manage with what they have, because that's what managers do. They make use of the resources they have at their disposal and ensure that they make it work for them. Why isn't Ant doing that? Because if you don't have, if they say a bad workman blames his tools.
Mm-hmm.
Is that is that a fair criticism or
I think it's fair, but I also think it doesn't really explain everything. It doesn't really go into the context of how he sets up. So I'll put it to you this way: he likes to play out from the back, which is positional football is literally putting your players in positions where they can advance the ball with shorter passes than long. So there hardly any long passes or any long balls or anything like that, because the whole point is to keep the ball. When you lose the ball, get the ball back, right? So Ant subscribes to these things. Ant subscribes to that way of playing. So now the problem is you now have a B quality player. If we're going to put anybody in the example, Dragishin. Dragishin plays, he's a defender's defender. He's just the guy who mops up and clears the ball, gives it to a more creative player, and that's his job. And that's really what a defender does. If we're back in the day, Dragishin would be lauded. But when you're playing on a positional, passing, build-up team, you have to be able to control the ball, to pick out the perfect pass, to put the pass to the right speed, and all these different things that come into it. And Dragoshin is not 1000% suited to this. However, the young man is trying. But Andy's point is, it's better for him to try to do what I want in terms of playing these short passes or building up than kicking a long ball and we're back under pressure again. Because as soon as he kicks it long, it's coming straight back to us. So I prefer it that he tries this, it doesn't work, but we mop it up. And the more he tries it, this is the case. as sad as it is to say this, in our human endeavors in life, you do not go from being born to jumping and flying off a roof. You have to crawl, you have to walk. Nobody criticizes babies when they see them trying to hold on to the sofa to try and stand up and they fall on their bums. They stand up, they fall. No one cares because it's part of the process of keep trying until that baby stands. The next thing the baby starts to move.
In
It's
other
the same
words,
thing in
trust the
life.
process.
It's a trust to process thing, but that word has been beaten to death. It's now come to be like the mantra for failure or trying to justify failure. But
Right.
it's actually the truth. Everything in life is you learn something, especially if you've not done it all your life. You look at someone like Dragosin, you look at certain players in that squad, they're not used to doing what this guy wants,
Yeah,
but
you
he's
said
trying
something
to
very
make it
interesting. Sorry to
automatic.
interrupt you, Truman. But you said something
Go
very
ahead.
interesting where we're off here, right? And which is this? And I think I get your point from that perspective, and I'll look at it in a second, right? What some other people will say is that because it's a process, right? You would need it to go through its formative stages, which you're trying to say now, right? But that today we live in this what you might call microwave society whereby everybody wants your food done and done, off you go, and you don't you get it cooked, and you don't go through the process of, okay, let's just marinate, when it's marinate, let this juices, fit into the food, and then you put it in an oven, wait for it, add a bit of heat, adjust, taste it a little bit, and all this will take time for it to actually have the right product. But you have all these ready meals, whereby you put it in the microwave, you sort of make a few holes and then turn on the microwave to full heat, and in 5 minutes you have your food. Now that seems to be the what a lot of football fans want, right? And you will find some people will say that, okay, is that not what you might call just going for bragging rights, if you like, because you want your team to be able to win. So when you're having a chat with your mates, you can say, "Oh, my team won this," or But others will say that, I've been going to Spurs, I've been going to whatever team I've been watching for however many years. I haven't won anything, and it's. I mean, I paid a lot of money to watch that team over the years, right? And I think it's. I mean, I feel entitled to actually ask that we win something. Now, the truth of the matter is that there are only, I don't know how many teams in the league, right? Now, if you have 20 teams in the league, as of today, as of today, 13 of those teams haven't won anything in God knows how many years, if not 20, 30, 40 years, right? Some people have never even won anything at all, ever. But they're part of that league. Now, it's one thing to say that, okay, from a statistical point of view, it might be a bit difficult to achieve because of how many people are fighting for the same trophy. If you look at, I mean, you have 4 trophies over the course of the season, right? Now, the number of teams that have won those trophies, like I said, is only probably around 5 or 6 or 7 at the most, in the current Premier League that we have, right? And even of those 7, Leicester, if you look at that, anomaly, right, in that thing. But is that to say that Tottenham shouldn't aspire to win, or putting a system in place that ensures that they can win on a consistent basis? It will bring us to the Ange Out, Ange In, and all that sort of thing down the line. But that's sort of hold that thought for a minute, right? So where are we now in terms of saying, okay, fine, we want to give Ange time to, at least those who want him in, to for his methods to mature and begin to, transform or transition into something that we can call actual, yes, a proper system that works every time, and not this what I call up and down inconsistent performances, And again, not blaming the tools, if you like, but you then have this situation whereby we've now had players coming in, right? I don't know if you look at the last match that we had. I mean, against was it Liverpool? Even against Newcastle, you could see that the team is beginning to sort of get into a place where even the so-called second team, one of the better expression, or third team, if you like, are beginning to show glimpses, of steady performance, gritty and being effective at the same time. Yeah. So what would you say to that?
Well. I'll tell you this. I agree. I agree with what you're saying in terms of it's always going to take time. And here's the interesting thing. without trying to say that people are the media are biased against Ange Postecoglou, but we were all here for Guardiola coming into the league.
What a bar. Stop.
First, oh, sorry, say that again.
No hiding from that fact, but we'll go into that bias another time. That's a fact, like, in my view.
Yeah, and we were here. We were here. The great Pep Guardiola arrived at Man City, and he won absolute zero squat, zero diddly in his first year. Came fourth behind Spurs, and nobody said anything because the guy said, "Look, I have a way of playing. I don't have the tools at hand. I need to get the tools to play the way I play in order to win the way I win. Not to win, but to win the way I win." And the next year, he got armed up by the Abu Dhabi group, and the rest is history.
So he got given the tools that he needed, right? Because that team had plenty of money, right, to not only buy the players but pay the high salaries that demanded that level of performance, right, or that level of players.
Hundred
The performance he
percent.
wanted. Okay, fine.
Okay,
And
and then here's the
City
here's
had
the
15 charges. I mean, I don't know. We don't want to sort of football liability, but here you go.
exactly now exactly those things they are consequences, but they've enjoyed the ride. But here's the thing: before he arrived, there was Pellegrini and Mancini before him who had won things at City once the City group had taken over, right? So that means they had a standard already. So City have a standard in the modern era of winning Premier League titles, winning League Cups and FA Cups, and so and Pep Guardiola came and he fell short of the standard in the first year, got tooled up, and he restored the standard, maintained it, and now by winning the Champions League has elevated the standard a bit more. So keep that in mind. You look at Chelsea. Abramovich came in. Up until Abramovich, what were Chelsea really? Standard raised, standard maintained. So they have something to talk about. At Spurs, and you could say, well, oh well, Enoch came in and all that. Like I said, we'll get to the Enoch talk. The thing about Spurs is we are trying to create a standard. I don't think a standard has been set at Spurs in the Premier League era. I don't think there's a standard. There is nothing Spurs fans can say that, oh, we've done that. Yeah, we have to. No. At best, under Pochettino, we came third and we came second and we maintained the top four place. But is that the standard? And if that's the standard, in the first season, Postecoglou came fifth, which is keeping within the standard parameters, right? So there's no big deal there. So now this guy says, I'm trying to create a standard. I don't think Spurs have a standard. So that's why when I see people complaining, I'm like, what divine right do you have to win a trophy? What divine right? There is no standard. There is no standard in the way we spend. There is no standard in the way our wages are. We don't have any of those things that those other guys do, which is not to say that we can't expect it. So I always put it this way. I would like Spurs to win, but it's out of my control. I would like Spurs to win. I would love for Spurs to win. But I don't need Spurs to win by any means. I don't need it. Like, if it didn't happen, would it affect my life? But unfortunately, we're in a world where people need it. And they need it because I personally believe, and this is just my opinion, and please feel free to comment, it's a status thing. And I understand this because I go to work, I socialize with people, and these are people from rival clubs and this, and status wise, nobody wants to say, I willingly chose to support Spurs, or I willingly chose to back this manager, and we're losing. So now, instead of saying Spurs are losing, they are saying I am a loser. And that's not how I look at my life. I am not a loser. I am blessed and highly favored. I'm happy to be on this earth. I am more than just my club. I don't introduce myself as, hi, I'm Chuma, Spurs fan. No, I'm Chuma. I happen to support Spurs. But it's not my identity in terms of the first thing you know about me is I'm a Spurs fan. But some people have wedded the identity of their lives to being Spurs fans, and they don't like to be put down. Yeah, they don't like to be put down, especially because most times, majority of the occasions, a lot of Spurs fans, all our relatives are literally down the road.
Absolutely.
We're exactly, we're surrounded
I
by
live in a
these.
household full of them, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, household, exactly. My Christmas was spent household full of goonies, and you can't do anything about it, and you just have to take it. But like I said, it's creating the standard. I believe the reason I'm Ange in is I think this man is creating a standard, and the standard isn't even just tactics, system; it's mentality and mindset, to see how he conducts himself in the face of a loss, to see how he takes it upon himself. He doesn't throw. The only time we've seen him come close to throwing a player under the bus is Timo Werner, and even the sainted disciples of Jesus Christ would have lost their patience with Timo Werner by now as well. And he just said something. I expect you. He didn't even say it in a bad way that you are trash. He said, I expect you to set a better example for these boys. Because in that game, Timo Werner was not trying. He just wasn't. You could see it. His body language. The guy is, I think he's shot mentally as a football player. But at least give it a go. Give it a try. In that game, he didn't. And the younger boys were trying. And he said, I expect you. And that's why he singled him out. But beyond that, every time Ange comes to press conference, it's my fault. The losing is me. It's all on me. It's all. And it's something very noble, but there's also something very, very strong in terms of character for a human being to take it, because that person knows I can change this. I can do it. So it's on me, it's on me. And like I said, that's why I'm Ange In. So what about you?
Yeah, I mean, let's look at me. I mean, in what how do you put it? So I'm fully Ange In, and I know that a lot of people who watch this program are thinking this is an Ange In fun club, But truth of the matter, look, I am a believer in process, right? And I'm what I call, people, you call me Optimus Prime, right? And you call me Optimus Prime for a reason. It's because I have this, I don't know, maybe positive attitude in terms of the way I look at things. My mindset is on it's off the chart when it comes to more positivity, if you like, However, I'm not deluded, I try as much as possible to look at things from a big picture perspective, and also to take a long-term view when it comes to looking at the way a football club is run. Because I've run a business several times before. I still run a business, right? And I understand that when it comes to building takes time. We need to ensure that, look, those building blocks that we put into place for that building to thrive, to remain stable, to become the vision that we had for it in the first place when we're conceptualizing the building. Are going to be there when the actual building comes to fruition. It's not a question. It's not. We shouldn't be swayed by, there's a new design out somewhere. There's a new brick or new type of tile that they use on building that we should now begin to adopt and change our own whole vision because we want to sort of be like the block down the road. Or and when you find out when you sort of adopt those what I call how do I put them now? Ad hoc approaches to big picture thinking, it always ends in tears because you're not consistent, your vision is not clear, the people you're working with don't know what if you're going to be there today or you're going to be there tomorrow, you're going to be swinging one way today or swinging one way another way tomorrow. Now, we'll come to the Ange Out conversation, because you cannot sort of divorce them from each other, Because of that, you find that with folks like them, the everything boils down to the resources that you need to run the club, right? Because ultimately, very good players, you've got to pay huge numbers for them, right? And invariably, you've also got to pay large wages to support that. But if you have a model that is based on sustainability, there's a limit, or you said something earlier about standard. I didn't particularly agree with you when you said standard. Maybe you meant higher standards than what we have now. Spurs have standards. It's not as if they don't have standards. It's just that those standards may not necessarily be as high as some other clubs within the same ecosystem that they're operating in, right? It doesn't make the standards not effective or not achievable. It just means that chances of them achieving success at the standard they've set at this time in terms of wage ceiling, transfer spend, and sustainability, may be at a lower point than a lot of the other clubs. But we're coming into a season now in the football ecosystem whereby FFP is now much more forcefully enforced. So much so that I think last January transfer or last summer window, we actually ended up spending the most of all the clubs, which is quite strange considering that Spurs were meant to be the so-called miserly club, if you like, But having said that, I am a fan of, making things work in a way that's sustainable on a very long-term basis. And Ange is no different. You can see it. For me, Ange, you're going to have bumps on the road. And these are the bumps on the road that you're going to see. And we're seeing very clearly now that those bumps are beginning to sort of show us that, okay, at the beginning it was like, oh, we've got a bunch of crash players who are playing for us, right? Now, the so-called crash players, Archie Gray, it's been absolutely amazing. Mr. Dagosin, look, he's 22 years old, He hasn't been too bad, It's maybe one or two errors here and there, but it's been absolutely good. Val came in the other day and it's like got a winning goal against Liverpool after giving a very, very good performance of himself, even against in the previous match against Liverpool. Against Newcastle. So you're beginning to see those shoots of progress, in that team. And we've got a new goalkeeper now who's like, gosh, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
I just tell you that, look, the future is bright, and I have no doubt whatsoever that we'll get to the promised land with Ange. Whatever that promised land looks like.